r/ask Reddit. What is unethical as dark, but is extremely common practice in the business world? Hiding fees until the service is provided. I was in a car accident that required an ambulance ride, and I was charged double for it. Apparently the two ambulance companies in my area are in cahoots. So rather than share the business in my area 50/50, they apparently devised a way to split it 100/100. They each have one person from the other company ride in their company's ambulance. The explanation I received was since a medic from the other company was riding along in the ambulance I took, they now can both charge me. Again, they didn't split the fee. They each charge me fully. It's almost a brilliant scheme, but also absolutely unethical and ridiculous. And I can't fathom how this is even legal. On a side note, they didn't even treat me on the ride. I don't know about unethical as dark, but going through the motions of pretending to entertain outside candidates when you've already decided on who internally will get the job wastes everyone's time. Sometimes it's company policy to post and interview for all positions, especially within a union setting. It's extremely frustrating because I've been dragged through a good half dozen interviews callbacks when they already had someone lined up, usually someone's relative. Yes, this happened to me as well. Internal job applications are tailored for the specific candidate, and they just interview other applicants because they are bound by HR rules saying they must. Purposefully giving part-time employees erratic schedules so they can't take on a second job. Dang. Never even thought about this. I always wondered why it was so hard to give people normal, set schedules. This opens my eyes. Giving your employees just few enough hours that they don't qualify as a full-time employee, so you don't have to pay them benefits. I worked at Walmart in high school. There were older adults who worked tons of overtime, really out their heart into the company. How were they rewarded? At the end of the pay period, they had shifts cancelled to keep them under 40 hours. Such a garbage company. You can bet when I witnessed people shoplifting I looked the other way. Duck that company. Loyalty is punished by laying the most work on the most productive, while overlooking these workers for promotions. If you're a great worker, they give you the shit jobs because you don't bitch and moan. Chronically and purposely understaffing. Looking at you, retail and assisted living companies. The staff who take care of our aging citizens are being treated like dirt. Not paying invoices until you've been chased multiple times, as standard policy. Had a boss who did this, but hated it when people did it to them. Boss claimed they paid late because everyone else did, but there are plenty of arguments each way there. Boss also hated it when one creditor applied to have the company wound up, liquidated, for non-payment because of the delay. In boss's semi-defense, it was like the proverbial sledgehammer to crack a nut. The bill was for a relatively small amount of money. In the creditor's defense, I think they were making a point about the whole late payment practice in general. A tactic that should be used more often. It's usually cheap and easy, and nothing moves a payment like the threat of bankruptcy. Raising prices before putting items on sale. Looking at you, Kohl's. As a former Kohl's cashier, I can attest that they are the worst with this. It should be illegal. I worked as a fraud investigator at a bank. We have rules and laws that we have to abide by, or the company got fined. I had a higher up, probably second or third tier from CEO, tell us explicitly that there are no exceptions to the rules except for our more affluent customers. That's why I hate management. They lie. Oh, next year you guys will have the holidays off. I'm still working every holiday. You can't use your cell phones because it's a security issue. A security guard will escort anyone out that uses their phone. Same manager walks by on their cell phone an hour later. Firing someone the moment you find out they're looking for another job. This is something I'm actually quite impressed with my current workplace. They know I'm actively looking for a job, but they're still sending me to trainings so I can use that in future employment opportunities. Not telling employees that the company or division has a planned date to shut down, then letting them go the day of. This happens everywhere from major mega corporations to mom and pop restaurants. There are reasons as to why. Given that there's still money to be made up until the last minute and you don't want your employees to slack off, And while obviously it's devastating to the employees who get laid off, it can also be pretty bad to the employees not getting laid off but have to be told ahead of time and can't say anything. Tangentially related to this, having employee A train employee B thinking they are going to work in another location, but actually, employee B is replacing employee A. Employee B knows this and can't say anything. Larger companies that kill competition innovation by buying out smaller companies just to stop what the smaller company is doing, or even keep lobbying the government to create barriers restrictions for entry. My private lab company got bought by a huge lab solely because we were the only lab for hundreds of miles that could do a specific set of tests. Within months of buying us, they fired half the company and we lost accreditation for the test and they were never able to regain it. Now they've turned us into a service provider and everything we do is based on how much money we can bring the company. Overworked, stressed, 50% of the building is always looking for new jobs. Favoritism, promoting people into positions who have no business being there. Treating people bad, to make them quit the job because you don't have the balls to fire them, or you are afraid that the word your company can fire someone anytime will spread and you will lose control. I think this has to do with avoiding paying benefits. I think employers can sometimes be made to pay some amount of their fired employees' unemployment benefits. There are a million different variables to consider how and when this would apply, though. In the US, unemployment benefits basically work like an insurance policy. If you fire someone, that person makes a claim and get paid. Then the employer's unemployment insurance rates go up because a claim had to be paid. So yes, companies actively avoid firing because if they force you to quit, then your claim gets denied and their rates don't go up. Firing a manager than dumping their responsibilities on a regular worker with no pay raise. More generally, not replacing workers as they exit and dumping the workload on the dwindling staff without increased pay. Unpaid internships are supposed to be on-site learning opportunities but are often just slave labor. It's actually illegal for an unpaid intern to do anything that can be considered work for the company, but it hardly gets reported because those interns won't need that slave internship to get into their career field. Unpaid overtime, more colloquially referred to as being on salary. Unpaid internships. Selling user data. When I worked part-time at Sam's Club, the manager was intentionally cutting our hours back to take away from our bonus and add to his at the end of the year. This also happened when my husband and I worked at the Home Depot. The bonus was more than some people make annually. One of the ASMs straight up bought a new car. My old salaried position requires copious amounts of overtime. In the end, my hourly wage was less than the people I was supervising. Salary is a ducking scam. Their whole argument is that where it doesn't matter how much you work, you get paid the same amount. So if you have a slow week with little to do, you can leave early and not worry. It'll just be balanced out when it's crunch time and you have to do unpaid OT. Thing is, there's basically never a time where you have so little work you can skip out, and on the occasions that you can, good luck not getting in trouble for making the company pay you for not doing anything. Never mind that you're doing extra work for no pay far more often. Lobbying the government to change the law to benefit your business. You pay for electioneering. They get elected and hook you up. Lower taxes, weakened regulations, etc. Hacking democracy. Giving people an hour below what is considered full-time so they don't need benefits, and also apparently changing people's time cards frequently. Every job I've had has done that, and at the expense of my hours pay too. Changing time cards is very illegal, not just unethical. Bribes are super common. Hire them as independent contractors so that you don't have to actually give them any benefits, travel, healthcare, etc. And so you have a quick tax write-off, but still force them to sign exclusive contracts where you can't work anywhere else. WWE would be freaking screwed if anyone with money ever tried suing them and didn't take a settlement. Settlements mean no decision can be made. It would force a decision they wouldn't like. Letting people ass-kiss their way to the top when they are highly unqualified happens more than it should and causes a lot of issues for people who are under them or who didn't get that position because they don't ass-kiss, but are way more qualified. Fine print. I always read it because all the bad stuff is there, but so many don't know to. hiding all your assets and going into bankruptcy so you don't have to pay the people you screwed over with your addictive medications. In Australia, businesses would open for 11 months. They would sell products for cheaper than their competitors could because they paid no tax on them. Then when tax time came, they would wind up the business to start a new one in a month's time. It was so common business tax went from being done yearly, like income tax, to being done 3-monthly, might be even more frequent now. I've been out of Australia for the last 18 years. Strongly encouraging employees to not share their salaries with one another so that you can play favorites without anyone finding out. Firing someone because of a medical condition. Happened to me. I hope they burn for it. Categorizing your employees as salaried simply so that you don't have to pay them overtime if they are forced to stay late. But wait, you came in late? Make up those hours. Telling the government you're losing money so you appear to have losses, and then telling the bank you are making money to show you can repay a loan. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.